I just started recording. Hara hara. All right, so this is the State-Sanctioned Podcast, Episode 2.
I literally forgot the name of the podcast.
I almost did too. It took me a hot second. Anyway, my name is Jonah. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Lewis. Why don't you say hi, Lewis?
Hi, I'm the incredibly famous writer, Lewis Southard. You can find me on social media at Lewis Southard.
Of course you can. All right.
I like how you are now omitting your last name. Your last name was in the last episode. Now, no more. You're just Jonah.
Yep. Okay. So anyway,
you just don't want to get doxxed. But
that'd be kind of tits if I didn't get doxxed, to be honest with you.
Dude, you're gonna get doxxed.
Oh no.
I already put your address on 17 different websites. It's already too late.
Only 17?
That's all you deserve. Speaking of putting things on 17 different websites, I gave you the specific job to post the podcast in places to help promote it. And what did you do?
I have not done that yet.
Oh, you've not done that?
No.
So I took it upon myself to be like, okay, I'm going to post it around on Reddit. I don't use Reddit, but I figured that'd be a good place to share it.
Okay. Do we have a subreddit now?
No, we don't have a subreddit. You know how hard it is to get a subreddit?
No, you can just make a subreddit, can't you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So what? Do we have a account for the State-Sanctioned Podcast?
No. I just shared it around on one of my old accounts.
Right.
And
yeah,
good news.
I'll make an actual account for us, then I'll make a subreddit too.
Okay, you can handle the whole Reddit part because I don't like Reddit, and I especially don't like it because after I posted on several different subreddits, they all got deleted.
Yeah, they don't really care for self-promotion most
They
of the
really
time.
don't.
Yeah.
I did, funnily enough, I did go on the Shoe on Head subreddit. Because I figured out maybe I could post it there. And that whole subreddit is literally talking about apparently her nudes got leaked. And every post is just, damn, that's terrible. Yeah, anyway, how about that link? And it's like, internet never change.
Yeah.
Never change.
Man, that's crazy.
So Jonah, redacted last name, why don't you tell the good people what the State-Sanctioned Podcast is all about?
So, my co-host Lewis and I, what we do is we come to the podcast every episode with at least two topics or stories or just something politics related to talk about. And we just discuss and we bullshit, as one does. And yeah, we just have a good time. Have anything to add to that?
We're two dudes just trying to have a good time. If people can't accept that, if people can't handle this dude's rock sort of mentality we've got going on, then click off the podcast right now.
Yeah,
we don't want it, we don't need it, and we don't care.
Well said, brother. Well said.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonah.
Yeah, so, of course.
Do you want to kick us off, or do you have any news you want to report? Anything before we get into the real meat of the podcast?
You mean aside from the two things that we brought?
Right.
I don't think so. Do you?
No. I'd say the reception to episode 1 was pretty decent.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all things considered, I'm quite happy with not only how the episode went, but how it was received. So I'm very happy about that.
Right. Did you give it a listen?
I was here when we recorded it, and I think that's listening enough.
I guess you're not as much of a narcissist as I am because I listened to it.
Yeah, I thought about listening to it, and then I just never did.
I listened to it. I'm like, I remember this thing I did yesterday. Good times.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to report, I guess we can just head into the news. Let's jump right on into it.
Sure.
Cue the music. News time. It's news time.
All right. Do you wanna go first, or should I kick us off?
I think you went first last time. So I guess I should kick us off.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up the more boring one, and then we'll go into the more exciting one later.
Okay.
So America's mayor, Rudolph Giuliani, a hero, God among men. His Manhattan apartment, was raided by federal agents.
Oh yeah,
Of course.
I didn't hear much about this, but I did hear that didn't his laptop get confiscated?
Laptops.
Oh,
plural. They seized all of his electronics, and I had to laugh because his son Andrew Giuliani was speaking to the press, and he made a very excellent statement where he said that this is all a sham and this is all targeted harassment against his. It's all fake news. It's all targeted harassment against his father. That his father is an innocent man, and that the only piece of incriminating evidence that anyone will find is not against his father, but on the Antichrist himself, the scum of the earth, Hunter Biden.
Wow.
Classic misdirect.
Yeah, well, you think that my dad's a problem. Have you heard of a little guy called Hunter Biden? He did drugs once.
Hunter
he also
Biden?
benefited from nepotism, but that's another issue.
They've both. It's one thing for one guy who benefited from nepotism to say, "Oh, this other guy benefited from nepotism." Regardless, Hunter Biden, friend of the show, absolute badass. Photos leaked of him having a threesome with 2 prostitutes, while a giant Squirtle plushie was in the background just vibing. The dude rocks. The dude is epic.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're fucking 2 women and you like Pokemon, this guy just fucks. I mean, I don't know what to say. He just fucks, and that's cool.
Well put. This guy fucks 2 women. He certainly fucks. That's your quote. I'm gonna put that on your gravestone. If I fucked 2 women, then I fucked. Jonah, last name redacted.
Oh,
that's brilliant. Anywho,
I mean, he does fuck.
He does. Okay, can we get off the?
Yeah. Okay, fine.
He does have a lot of cool photos online of him smoking crack and just taking like selfies of himself. I guess trying to make thirst traps.
Thirst traps with the crack pipe hanging out of your mouth.
Even though he's like a 50-year-old man, which rocks. So yeah, they've now tried to switch it over to Hunter Biden. So the agents had a search warrant. They pretty much, went over his entire apartment. His spokesmen have not made any comments, but they did say that their lawyer, I guess, is going to be referring to the press, because they don't want to say anything. They've also said that, maybe you heard this line. They said that the Justice Department should keep politics out of their actions and business.
I did not hear that, but that does sound like something they would say. Listen, if anyone's coming after me, it's actually just because they're politically motivated. It's not because I'm a scumbag. It's
because they're libtard cucks that can't handle the truth.
Yeah, they're just bought by communist China or something. Blah blah.
These judges of the court, they're fucking losers, dude. They're not real Americans like me, man.
If only Rudy Giuliani actually talked like that. Listen, dude, this is totally fucking bogus, dude. I didn't have shit on that laptop, brother.
Guys, this is not totally tubular at all. Well, how did that guy from SpongeBob laugh when he dies? He's like,
dude, he made me experience high tide. Oh!
Anybody listening to this is tuned off already. They're like, no thank you.
Yeah,
I don't need to hear that.
Fucking idiots talking about.
Yeah, it's like we went from Rudy Giuliani to SpongeBob in the span of 10 seconds. Pretty good.
Yeah. We're doing great.
But with this news piece, we should really look at the trajectory of Rudy Giuliani's career because he has experienced nothing but a downward spiral as of late. He went from being America's mayor, that one of the guys who somewhat saved New York, quote in quote saved New York, and now here he is, this sweating lapdog, old doddering man who got caught by Borat touching his penis.
I actually saw that the movie. Yeah.
Good for you, Jonah. I'm glad you saw Borat too.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy how you have had to throw that out there. I've seen Borat. Just want to let everyone know. Yeah, last week you talked about how you saw Joker. Now you're like, I have to see. I saw Borat, guys.
I was just saying, like, oh yeah, I saw that. That's all.
Okay.
I'm sorry if that upset you.
I'm livid. I'm pretty pissed off right now.
Okay.
This guy, Rudy Giuliani. I think the peak. Maybe you can disagree. Maybe you can figure out your number one Rudy Giuliani blunder. But mine is certainly Four Seasons landscaping.
That was pretty good. I also just liked where the hair dye was dripping down his his face. That was I was gonna say that, but honestly, the Four Seasons landscaping is probably the funnier one.
It's so funny because it's just him outside in a parking lot. Well, the hair dye's part of it. With his hair dye dripping, he's standing next to a porno store, and he's talking about how the election is fake. Gosh, that guy has really fallen.
And then after all that, he didn't even get paid.
Hell yeah. He didn't even get paid. Oh, did you hear that Trump wants to move to New Jersey now?
No, although I do know he has a golf course in what's it called? I always forget the name. He has a golf course somewhere in Central Jersey.
We should go.
Yeah, I've never been to the actual golf course, but I've been in the town that it's in before.
Do you know how to play golf?
I know you're supposed to, I know lower scores are better, but that's
true.
That's all I know, really.
You could have just said no.
Yeah, and I probably should have.
Instead, you got to give me your golf fun facts.
I mean, I don't know how hard can it possibly be? Like, just to know the rules. I know actually being good at golf is difficult, but just knowing how to play it.
I feel like the two of us can just go and start swinging.
Yeah, we can just bullshit.
And that's it.
We bullshit this. We can bullshit golf.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's my news. I wanted to continue dragging Rudy Giuliani. Oh, I didn't even say what this was really about. Apparently, it's the whole purpose of the investigation is about illegal lobbying for Ukrainian officials.
Wow, someone's actually going down on lobbying? That never happens in this country.
Wow.
Somebody's going down on legal bribery? Holy shit.
Press the button. Press the alarms going off. Wee woo, wee woo. Jonah just said something wild.
Thanks, Lewis.
I'm going to put sound effects.
Okay. I feel you're going to forget. You won't fucking do it.
I got to edit this. I already got to edit this one because you're doing too much dead air.
Wait, what?
Dead air when you're not talking.
Well, I mean, because you were talking.
I'm done. I'm not talking right now, am I?
Oh, fair enough. All right. So wait. It was illegal bribery, illegal lobbying for Ukraine? What does that mean exactly?
This was during the time when he was... Oh, it's connected to the investigation where he was trying to dig up dirt against Joe Biden.
Oh, okay.
So I guess that has to deal with the Biden's dealings with the Ukraine.
Oh, all right. Well, I can't say I particularly feel bad for him, for
I don't feel
Giuliani,
bad.
but yeah, this is funny more than anything.
Well, it's not. It's not funny. This man's life is done.
Yeah, but it's
sad. I'm not saying we should feel bad for him, but it's like this guy's pretty much fucking done.
I mean, yeah, but he pretty much brought it on himself, though.
That is true. Well, all right then. I guess that's it. I guess the thesis, our closing argument. Rudy Giuliani is a bad guy, and he's getting what he fucking
You
deserves.
get what you fucking deserve.
Hell yeah, dude.
What's up, man? 2 Joker references in a row. We're on fire with this show.
You really are. I'm so happy you saw that movie, and as you said, it changed your life forever.
All right. So I guess I'll take over from here. So the more I learn about the war on drugs, the more ending it becomes one of my top issues. I mean, I would argue it is one of the worst policies ever implemented by the United States. It has pretty much destabilized much of this whole hemisphere of the planet, whether we're talking like enabling gang violence in inner cities, which subsequently leads to like militarization of police, or we're talking about driving drug markets underground, which fuels cartels in Latin American countries, which destabilizes them. Or if we're just talking about people having their lives ruined over doing something that harms literally no one else. I mean, this is these are sets of policies that have negatively impacted probably at least hundreds of millions of people. And ever since the election, we've pretty quickly been moving away from those like archaic policies. So I mean, there were a number of states, New Jersey, Arizona, Montana. They voted to legalize marijuana. You
New
had
York just did recently.
what?
New York just did recently.
Yeah, and then afterwards, New York did, Virginia did, New Mexico just did like 2 weeks ago. Also Oregon, they decriminalized all drugs.
Oregon's like, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, no, Oregon's Oregon's cool as fuck with this shit.
We should move to Oregon. I've been saying that for years.
I'd be game to at least check out Oregon, for sure.
Yeah, we should. Dude, you want to go to Oregon?
Yes.
When do you have some free time?
I don't know. I should probably be free sometime this summer. We just go for like a week or whatever.
Yeah, go vibe in Oregon. Do a little heroin, do a little crack. see how we feel.
Yeah.
If we like how the energy there, then we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, totally.
Where else do the loser liberals of the world, loser liberal rejects of the world go to once society has 100% cast them out?
I gotta say, Oregon. Oregon's the top pick of mine in that regard.
Exactly. And now you could do heroin. Come on, Jonah.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know, dude.
Jonah, you're still the same guy who one day you were like, "Hey, so I was on the deep web the other day, and I learned how to get some black tar heroin.
I've never said that.
You literally said that.
I said I found markets just because I was curious. I'm never like, hey, dude, I can hook us up with some heroin.
Hey guys, I know where to get us some black tar heroin. You were so proud of yourself.
Whatever.
I'm not.
I don't think I said that, but okay.
Well,
what?
Well, you just want. Nah, it doesn't matter. Continue.
Oh my god, I hate you so fucking much.
Why are you being so rude? Okay, Jonah, if you want to do black tar heroin, go right ahead. I'm not gonna stop you.
Thanks, Lewis. I'm glad I have a friend like you that enables bad decisions.
If we go to Oregon, then it's fine. You could do as much black tar heroin as you want.
I guess I can. But yeah, anyway. So now...
Anyway, you were dragging Nancy Reagan through the mud.
I mean, yeah. No. Yeah, Reagan's whole thing was just say no as his CIA was funneling crack cocaine into black neighborhoods. So yeah, I'll drag him and his whole fucking family. Thank you very much.
Fucking base, Jonah. Get him.
Thank you. So anyway, part of what prompted me to talk about this is there's a bunch of progress in terms of like legalizing marijuana and decriminalizing certain other drugs. Like Louisiana House Criminal Justice Committee just approved marijuana legalization. Texas House of Representatives advanced marijuana decriminalization, as well as studying the medical benefits of psychedelics like psilocybin and MDMA. The Hawaii legislature adopted a resolution seeking a federal exemption from the DEA for the state's medical cannabis program. Basically, we are seeing slowly but surely a very promising progress away from our old archaic drug policies and into something that will hopefully, reduce a lot of the, absolutely horrific consequences that, the Nixon and Reagan era policies have had on people in the United States and all over the North and South America. And so that just made me really happy to see. So I just wanted to bring that up and talk about it because, I mean, like I said, the war on drugs is probably the worst policy we've implemented, maybe in the history of this country.
This is what I'm going to bring up. Do you think this will lead to any prison reform in the sense of people who have been arrested and thrown in the slammer for drug offenses? Do you think that's going to lead to any sort of reform at all, or do you think we're just going to leave them in there?
Well, I know
as time progresses and we sort of go away from the war on drugs and sort of treat everything as more ordinary.
Well, I know that a lot of states, like I know Virginia, I think New York's doing this. I think Virginia, New Jersey, California, a lot of states, they're having like expungement aspects. So they're trying to actually like purge people's records of past marijuana convictions. Now, if you ask me, it should be any nonviolent drug offense. But there definitely seems to be some degree of effort on like getting people's records wiped clean, which presumably would mean that they'd also get released from jail if they're currently in there.
But do you think that'll happen, or do you hope that'll happen?
Well,
I could just see it as they'll just leave them.
Well, I know
they don't care.
I think in New York State, if I'm not mistaken, the expungement process is automatic. So like
cool.
it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of how long it'll actually take. But yeah, no, a lot of the people that were pushing for this touted it as like a criminal justice thing, which it absolutely is, especially along like racial lines, because this is the entire point of the war on drugs was basically to just put black and brown people as well as like white hippies in jail. So I mean
right.
it's racist in origin, it's racist in outcome. Especially with the way it's destabilized.
You mentioned it already that they were funneling crack into neighborhoods anyway, so they're already creating this sort of boogeyman that they can fight against.
Yeah, boogeyman, and also like just throwing black people in jail because obviously black people weren't going to vote Republican. So instead of actually trying to be better, they're just like, what if we just throw our political enemies in jail and then make it so that they can't ever vote again, even when they're
Jonah,
out?
I think you meant to say that it's morning in America.
Yeah.
I think you forgot to mention that. I think you forgot to mention that man, Ronald Reagan, is probably one of the greatest political figures to ever exist.
Oh yeah.
From humble beginnings as an actor, where he was in movies with a monkey, just having a good time.
That's cool.
And then being president of the United States while having Alzheimer's at the same time. Like this man was awesome. He was cool, and he told a lot of funny jokes. So
he told a lot of funny jokes. So I'm willing to overlook his racism.
He was racist and he ruined a lot of people's lives with this agenda, but he was pretty funny though.
Yeah, he was an absolute fucking knee slapper.
Dude,
everything that he said.
Consider me gobsmacked. That guy lit up a whole room. He was a laugh riot. So cheers, charming, brother. So epic. And taken from us too soon at the ripe old age of 102.
Was he actually that old?
No, he probably died when he was 72 or some shit like that.
I know he died in 2004. I don't know how old he was though.
Good. Sweet.
Not soon enough.
I was gonna say something real edgy, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. Oh man, is his grave a gender neutral bathroom like Margaret Thatcher's is?
Oh gosh, let's talk about Margaret Thatcher.
All
I
right,
hate Margaret Thatcher.
No, I don't know that much about Thatcher, so
I don't know much about Thatcher. Oh, I do know that she funneled in. It's the Eric Andre bit where she funneled in money into Ireland to what was it, to support Irish death squads to kill, I guess, the IRA.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. I love like militarizing.
Girl power, dude.
I love girl power. Yes, girl boss. I love when girl bosses militarize.
Margaret Thatcher, the original girl boss.
Yeah, amen, dude.
The Iron Lady. Before there was an Iron Man, Iron Lady.
Wow. Good for her, dude. I'm so glad she ruined people's lives.
I will say one thing about Margaret Thatcher. She came from nothing.
Did she?
I think. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So
I guess we're off to a bad start if I'm already feeding in misinformation on the second episode.
I mean, that's just kind of how you are, though. You're just a guy who exaggerates for comedic flair.
That's so true.
By that I mean you're full of shit.
Thank you for exposing my gimmick to all of our 7 fans.
Yeah, no. You heard it here, folks. He's just a hack fraud.
I'm a fraud. I don't know anything about politics.
Yeah, you bet you don't. But anyway, yeah. So,
the war on drugs.
Yeah, we're talking about drugs. I mean, really, the way that you just address many of these issues is you legalize, tax, and regulate, these substances, and basically recognize that, like the whole point, or not the whole point, but the what makes addiction is the inability to stop regardless of consequences. And if you make there be like criminal consequences for doing a drug, that not only does that not keep people from doing it in the first place, but also it's completely ineffective at stopping people. The threat of jail time is not going to stop someone who's genuinely addicted to a substance, and it really just makes it just harms them and their psyche. It puts them in a situation that makes them feel worse, and then hates them for not getting better. And
that's a situation where they can still attain the drug, because drugs can be snuck into prisons. They are snuck into prisons all the time.
Right.
So you can still benefit your own addiction while also being dehumanized.
Right. And then because you're in jail, you also have a lack of economic opportunity when you get out. So then that's part of what fuels the violent crime. That's part of like one of the many reasons why the war on drugs creates more violent crime, especially, like I said, in more economically disadvantaged areas. And it's just, it was all a ploy to put Republican political enemies in prison, and it's long overdue to be reversed and replaced with something that's actually backed by, like that actually is meant to help people who have drug problems, rather than just throwing them in jail and bloating our prison population and all that fun shit.
Here, you want to talk about something really important?
Yeah.
If we're gonna be talking about this,
sure.
Do you know about the 1985 Move bombing?
I don't.
Okay, I want to pull this up. Pulling up Wikipedia right now. It's taking its time. Okay, this is a great example on sort of like I believe this was influenced by the war on drugs, because there was a group known as Move, which was sort of like a black separatist group.
Okay.
And like they were really okay. I want to make sure I give the facts, because this is something serious. So I don't want to be joking too much about it. So the Move group was a sort of religious organization, just full of mostly African American members, and it was almost a modern, at the time, Black Panther Party, or at least they were inspired by the Black Panthers.
Right.
As it says right here, it was a weird fusion of Black power and flower power. So it's almost like a hippie group. And
base.
They had a whole sort of, I guess, block or this area where they were most of their members were based out of, and there was, like they did do illegal things. They had illegal firearms. Some of the members were doing parole violations, and since they are like a separatist movement, they did make like passing threats to people, but it was nothing 100% like, oh, these people are insane. These people are absolutely bonkers and need to be dealt with. It's all fairly typical.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But luckily, luckily, in 1985, with 500 police officers, they managed to arrive in full force, and they managed to bomb this whole block in Philadelphia to kill these people.
Wait, the police bombed the move group?
Yes.
Oh my God.
They bombed the whole area. And I don't know if this is 100% correct. So if this is wrong, let us know in the comments. But I believe the war on drugs managed to assist in this being done. But the casualties, fortunately, was low, even though it shouldn't have happened regardless.
Right.
But the casualties were 5 children and 6 adults. But the overall catastrophe was 61 homes were burned down over 2 city blocks due to the bombing.
Wow. Jesus. I mean, like, this is just like the entire like existence of police, at least from the past several decades, has been, to put down groups like that. And I'm not, defending them. I'm sure they did bad shit, and a lot of black nationalist groups tend to. But yeah, I mean that is inexcusable. Such like so reckless, such recklessness just for the sake of stopping a like a group like that. So what what leads you to believe that had to do with the war on drugs though?
I think they just use that as an excuse to benefit the police, like cracking down on these people.
Oh, like they did drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
But don't worry, Jonah. If this has upset you in any way, it's all good, because last year Philadelphia City Council issued a formal apology.
Oh, thank God.
So all is forgiven, all is good.
Wow, that's really, really awesome.
We said sorry. We sorry. We bombed 2 city blocks.
We're sorry. We are so sorry.
We're sorry. We killed 5 children.
Honestly, considering they burned down, what was it, 61 homes? I'm honestly amazed that more people aren't dead.
That is dude. 500 cops. 500 cops to kill 5 children. Sounds about right.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad they stepped up their game, and now you only need 1 cop to kill a child now.
But this is one of those things that I think is hardly mentioned, at least in American education.
I have never heard of this prior to you telling me about it, so yeah, I can attest to that.
Dude, this place was airstriked or airstruck, whichever is the proper word.
Wait, it was an airstrike?
It says right here, airstrike with improvised explosive device.
You needed 500 cops to drop an IED?
Pretty much, yes.
Wow. Huh. I didn't even know they did that. I didn't know cops had the capability to do fucking airstrikes.
Okay, let me see if they got the military. I think... Oh, no, the FBI got... Don't worry, the FBI came in to help out. They came in with the assist.
Good, I'm glad. I'm so happy.
So that's the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life. 500 police officers teamed up with the FBI to bomb 61 homes. Can you believe, in America, in the United States, in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I mean, this is not like this is the type of shit I would expect to hear like in, I don't know, like Yemen or something, like not Philadelphia, USA,
And this is something people don't know about.
Yeah, no, that's the crazy part. Like, this is a state-sanctioned terrorism, not to be confused with the State-Sanctioned podcast. It's state-sanctioned terrorism.
Two completely different things.
Yes.
We do not condone terrorism in any form.
No, terrorism is not poggers whatsoever.
Terrorism is bad. Put that on my grave. Your grave says whatever stupid shit you said, and my grave will have the facts.
Yeah, no, that's probably how it should be. That's definitely a good thing. Another thing that the war on drugs caused So you want to know why opium?
Wait, no. Before we go away from this, I want to talk about another instance, and not to go on this tangent, but I feel it's a good tangent to be on.
Yeah, no, I mean this
Uh,
is important. I mean part of the one of the best things about doing the show is that we talk about things that don't really get covered that much, which is actually my next story, but we'll get to that later.
right. The 1985 move bombing. That's a great instance of I don't want to say it. Maybe I'm misusing this term of systemic racism because it's literally the government cracking down on a mainly black organization.
Well, that would be systemic racism for sure.
Okay, then I'm right.
It's racism within a system. So yeah, but anyway.
But we mentioned this great instance of how that is an event in American history that is not talked about or taught. And there's another event very similar that only recently has become more of a topic in modern conversation. And I would just want to highlight it in case there are people who still don't know of it. And that's the Tulsa Race Massacre, which occurred in 1921.
Yeah, I had heard something about that. I didn't ever learn the details though.
Okay, this mainly came to prominence because of the HBO show. This is maybe wrong, but this is from what I gathered. It not prominence. It became more of a talking point because there was the HBO show Watchmen, and they came out last year, I think, or the year before. I don't remember. And in the first episode, it opens with the Tulsa Race Massacre, and people were like, what is this? Like, was this real?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, it was real," and it became more prominent in the zeitgeist, and then it led to more people learning about it, and that's how I learned about it.
I had heard about that because apparently Trump was holding a rally in Tulsa on the anniversary of the massacre.
That happened a lot way after. But this is another instance where Tulsa at the time in 1921 had the nickname of Black Wall Street because it was known for this very, very wealthy, very prosperous African American community. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of white people said, "I don't like that." So the KKK and just a bunch of regular people pretty much stormed, like they had essentially attacked the town, and they lynched several black people and burned down several black businesses and homes, and killed several people. They looted several storms and houses, and they left this whole community in ruin in the span of 2 days.
Wow.
And I wanted to bring this up because this is another, only recently has it become more of a talking point, but this is another great example of how, I don't know, I know why, but how our education system really loves to skirt around some of the more heinous stuff we've done.
Definitely.
In American history.
And even when it acknowledges it, like the way that we were taught, I don't know if you got this impression, because obviously, we went to for those who don't know, we actually went to high school together, but I don't know if you got this impression, but the way that the civil rights movement was taught, to me, it kind of seemed like the implication was like, guys, like racism's over. Like MLK came, he did his thing, like yeah, whatever. Like racism's basically done. Like it's just now we live in a totally fair, meritocratic society. And
MLK showed up. He said, "Black and white, it's all right," and everybody held hands. And now we live in a utopia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and it's like they either don't acknowledge it at all, or they whitewash the ever living fuck out of the things they do acknowledge.
Right. Well, that's the thing about the American education system, which I don't get about Trump. Because when he was in office, he complained like, "Oh, our schools are anti-American." I could see our universities where professors have a bit more leeway of being able to vocalize their opinions and they can sort of specifically select the topic, sure, like they can go into more nuanced and more, they can anti-American, not anti-American, but just actual American history.
Yeah, it's like talking about the things you're not really supposed to talk about.
Right, because it would seem that the more mainstream public school system is structured, and it was, I remember learning about this, that I think it started in the early 1900s, that school education was reformed to be more pro-American, so they could have, so the students could learn the best of their country and be proud Americans, that sort of thing.
You said the 1960s?
No, the early 1900s.
Oh,
so
okay.
like turn of the century. I remember learning specifically, somebody came in and reformed schools in America because they were like, oh, our kids are not learning anything useful, and they also hate America, so let's fix that. And it's still present in modern day education.
Definitely.
Where it is pro-American. You know, we all have to do the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, we all have to do that. And I think a huge detriment to learning history in public schools, it's very rapid fire, and a lot of time is spent on random bullshit. Where it's like, let's talk about the Gilded Age and how important that is. I'm not saying the Gilded Age. I'm not saying, some history is less important than others, but I think in terms of modern day contextualization, there we go, I got it out. It'd be more beneficial to focus on things that happened that actually didn't happen that far away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like in the grand scheme of things, Jim Crow was not that distant in terms of time. Like stuff like that.
Literally African Americans got the right to vote. What is that? 60 years ago?
Something like that. Like, I mean, they technically had the right to vote, but yeah, banning things like literacy tests. Yeah, that's a fairly recent thing. And even now, you still have like a lot of measures like voter ID and shit like that. That's generally meant, or at least has the practice of.
Well, that's more modern day systemic racism.
Yeah,
which that's the problem when you look at modern racism versus like proper 1960s racism, because at that point I think that's another problem with the education system, because they use the 1960s and prior as great as indicators of what racism supposedly looks like. Like, oh, there's a sign above the water fountain that says only white people can drink from it, and like that's racism. And yes, it is. But what else is racism? It's like, oh no, it's just a sign. It's just a sign. Don't think about it. And then now we're like, well, let's look at how racism is more invisible and more apparent in everyday structures.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, a lot of people either just aren't familiar with the concept of dog whistling or are just ignorant. But I mean, you hear this type of shit from people all the time. Like, one of my favorites was, I think it was Tom Cotton, if I'm not mistaken. It was a conversation about in the Senate about DC statehood, and basically Tom Cotton was like, listen, Wyoming is a very like working class state, whereas DC, they don't have any mines or anything like that. The implication being like, you're only working class if you're like a white dude in a factory or a coal mine, and person of color in like fast food or whatever, that's not working class. And it's like,
great.
Disregarding the fact that none of that has anything to do with the criteria for being a state. Like, it's just it's very loud dog whistling, but so many people are just or don't know how to recognize it. I think that's a big part of the problem.
There's a video that came out of somebody rebuttaling him, and it's like, wow, what another great way to just say, I guess, white people.
Oh yeah, no. I never realized the word white has so many syllables in it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But think about this. Consider this. Why don't you? we went to a very good school. It's not the greatest school in the world. It wasn't a private school, but it was fairly well off. It was a school that had, funding,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. As far as public high schools go, ours was pretty decent,
and teachers who were like
decently well
high
paid.
caliber. No, I mean like who were good at their job.
Oh yeah.
But even then, there was still everything we've been talking about. There's still that pro-American sentiment in what they're teaching. Some they would reveal like what they actually think versus what they're teaching, but that doesn't help. That doesn't help really if I'm teaching you this, but deep down I don't believe it at all.
Yeah.
Now think about that. This is a school that it's doing it, but it acknowledges it a little bit, and even then it's not helping anybody. Cut to, let's say, a random school in, let's say, Alabama. Imagine how pro-American that would be in a much more conservative state.
Right, and in schools that probably are not as well funded, in most parts,
where dudes get to walk in with their hunting rifles and get to leave early so they could go work on the farm. No, that's a real thing. The schools in the South have shorter hours because the kids who are farm hands have to go to work.
Oh, really?
Really?
Huh.
What do you think about that?
That's
sad.
very very interesting. Yeah, but also sad. Child labor, I guess.
I love child. Oh, why expand your mind when you can go work in the fields, little Billy?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least they're getting an education, even if it's, if it's
rigged.
Even if it's rigged, it's like whitewashed history, and it's like, you're still number one priority is going to work in the fields.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm glad we touched upon this. I know this is 100% tangential, but I feel it is a good thing.
No, this isn't tangential at all. I mean, even though the original conversation was the war on drugs, and racism are very, very intimately related. And yeah. If our tangent goes from the war on drugs to more just like explicitly about racism, I don't see that as a bad thing at all.
I just think it's a good act of service to talk about these very underrepresented American events in history. I think that's just a good thing to do.
Absolutely, and I guess one more thing that I guess is sort of related to that, something that a lot of people don't know. Do you know why opium was made illegal in this country? In the I thought you were going to ask me. No, I think you were saying no, Jonah. Why was it? But it's okay.
No, I was thinking. I was genuinely thinking. I was trying to figure it out.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Just a miscommunication, I guess.
I literally I'm gonna genuinely think about this, and then you're like, oh no, Jonah, I don't know. Tell me, please.
I'm sorry. I will give you a second if you want.
First, you drag Margaret Thatcher through the mud, then you drag Nancy Reagan through the mud, and now you're dragging me through the mud.
Yeah.
You're just a killer today, Jonah.
Yeah, no, that's me. That's Jonah Marcus, killer extraordinaire.
Anyway, they call you the Mad Dog for a reason.
Okay, so anyway, the reason why is because when when there were an influx of Chinese immigrants in the mid 1800s to work on the railroads, a lot of them in these Chinese neighborhoods, they had a lot of opium dens, and a lot of white people were worried that their like white women would go hang out in the opium dens and fuck the Asian dudes.
Where the hoes at?
Yeah. But yeah, so it's a combination of like anti-Asian racism and also like sexism, because it's like a lot of people will who had that mindset view like women as objects to be conquered, and it's like I can't let those Asians, they probably would have said something else, but those Asians get my women, they're only for me.
I can't believe these fine gentlemen are supplying our well-respected female friends with illicit drugs
and illicit
That's exactly
dick.
what they said.
Yeah.
I can't believe Jennifer's getting dicked down at the opium den.
Yeah.
We should make laws about that.
But
we should make a law to stop that.
Yeah.
No, but that's another great example. I guess that's sort of a proto war on drugs.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the same motivations too. Racism and I guess a little bit of sexism in there as well.
It's all about pushing some other agenda.
Yeah.
No matter the cost. It's just using something else as we kind of talked about this last week. It's all about scapegoats. I think that's the most powerful weapon of any government.
Mm-hmm.
Finding something to blame so you can you can push on with what you actually want to confront.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because I mean, like, it makes your absolutely egregious ideas much more palatable if you kind of like dog whistle and obfuscate what your real intentions are. And so, yeah, I mean, these types of policies are and always have been rooted in much more nefarious ideas and more nefarious goals.
It's the power of language, and
Definitely.
It's the power of misusing good intentions. It's just trying to spin your it seems to be more of a constant thing all throughout history. No matter where you go, it's all about spinning a narrative that benefits you and you alone.
Right. Yeah. I think.
Wow, this is a bit of a downer. Let's talk about Let's talk
bit...
about women getting dick down again.
I mean, it was a downer, but it's an important downer. It's an important conversation to have.
Yeah, and I should say this. Jonah and I are not really really people of color.
No, yeah.
Despite the fact that one of us sort of is.
Yeah, you're you're half, but you pass as white, so.
Right. I depends on who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
You know, they'll acknowledge what they want to acknowledge, which is sad. But we're not really the authorities to be talking about, racism. Well, we could discuss it, but we can't be like, oh, we 100% understand it.
Yeah, no, it's just, what we can do. I guess you call us allies, I suppose.
I was just about to say that it's us attempting our best in allyship.
Yeah, and that's really that's we're just trying to do, I guess, what we feel we can as allies to this movement.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, all right. Do you have any closing statements on the war on drugs, or I guess the biased history being taught in America, or anything we discussed?
I mean, I guess I would just say that, like, this, like, reversing the war on drugs, like I said at the very beginning, has become like a top issue of mine, because I've learned the really just disastrous effects it has had. And I encourage anyone listening to look more into all this, like what we discussed, and do your own research, because like this really is kind of terrifying what people with bad motives can make how they can make their message seem palatable to average people. It's very, very scary, but also like just the reality with things like this.
You used the word average people. I was thinking that's like a great example of what they would say. Like, oh, the war on drugs is appealing to the average person. I would see it more as they're trying to target like suburbia and white people. Like, this is what's happening in your cities.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not accusing you of like dog whistling or anything. I'm just saying, like, that's a great example of language. Like, oh, we're appealing to the average American citizen. Like, oh, drugs are bad. And I feel the more separated a group is, then the more scary they can dream it up to be, especially if the government is saying all these horrible things.
Yeah, and I appreciate you pointing out that language. Actually, that didn't even occur to me, but you're right. That probably was not the best way to word that on my part. But yeah, definitely. I mean, what research has shown is that people who are the most racist tend to have like the least exposure to different groups. Like generally,
we know an individual.
Yeah, we do.
Who barely knows any people of color, but he could tell you he knows everything, and he said it to us. He knows everything about the Black experience.
Oh yeah,
and he will be the first to tell you it's not that bad.
Yeah, he did. He's wow.
Oh my God. Well, before we move on, I'm gonna ask you. Let's lighten the tone while we're on the topic of drugs. Jonah Marcus, since you said you revealed your last name to all of our fans.
Yeah.
Do you have any fun drug stories?
Do I have any fun drug stories? I mean, I don't know. I've only ever really smoked weed, so I don't have anything terribly interesting. I guess the only like kind of funny thing that happened one time is like I got so high that somebody asked me a question, I answered, and then I forgot what the question was and asked them to repeat it. That's my most interesting drug story, I guess. I'm not.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
No wonder the war of drugs was a thing.
Yeah,
because maniacs like you were running around.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I have not tried that many drugs. You, on the other hand, I know you have.
Oh yeah, I've done my fair share of things.
Yeah.
I think the funniest thing I can just remember is one time I was on mushrooms and I was just sitting there being like, not really kicking in. This ain't shit. And then I jumped 20 minutes through. I traveled 20 minutes through time. And I found myself in the middle of a conversation with somebody who I didn't know. And I was like, what? And they're like, what? And then I'm like, what's going on? And then they're like, we've been talking for 20 minutes. And that scared me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I glitched through time.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into any of my juicy drug stories.
Yeah.
But that was pretty good. Okay, I guess it's my turn.
Yes, sir.
Wow, I've got a smile on my face now that we're no longer thinking about racism. so now I've got a smile on my face. Now I can move into what really matters. Disneyworld. Because I don't know if you heard about this, Mr. Marcus, but Disneyworld is under attack.
Oh, really?
Guess who's attacking it?
Soy boy, liberal, SJW, snowflake cucks.
You got it. None other than the libtard cucks are destroying Disneyworld. Wokeness, as this commentary piece says, is ruining the experience. So this was an op-ed by a man. I'll dox him. Jonathan Banbuskirk, interesting last name, who wrote this whole piece about how he thinks, I guess, modern day leftist values are destroying the Disney theme park experience. And it's ridiculous. This guy, I don't understand his motivations behind this. I suppose something tremendously horrible happened to him at one of these parks. Because
he didn't get to see the slave women on that one ride, and really, I mean,
hold your horses,
all
pal.
right.
Because he starts talking about some small things that really ruined his erection. For instance, the employees, they can have inclusive uniforms.
What?
And they could display haircuts that they think best represents themselves.
Oh my God.
They don't have to dress or appear a certain way. It's almost as if Disney is very inclusive with who they hire.
Wow, dude, that's not okay.
Yeah, they just let anybody work there. Anybody with tattoos, anybody with piercings, they can work there. And this guy says that's rule break number one.
I mean, I guess I can understand if you got Snow White with some tattoos and like
no,
crazy hair, but yeah, if it's like somebody at like the gift shop or like somebody serving you like a hot dog or whatever, like that's not like that's just such a dumb thing to complain about.
Gaston is not blowing marijuana smoke into your kid's face while decked out in pentagram tattoos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like these are just the random underpaid employees who just work in Disneyland that's saying, you shouldn't work here because you make me feel scared.
You feel scared.
And excuse me, I'm just so disgusted by these people that I had to cough up some phlegm.
Wow, I'm right there with you, dude. I might vomit.
Another thing he doesn't like, these employees, they can use cell phones. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, listen, I don't know. I mean, this newfangled cell phone thing, it's never gonna catch on. I don't know why they're allowing it. It's not like cell phones are practical or yeah. It's just. Listen, back in my day, we didn't have cell phones, so you shouldn't either.
Exactly. Like, how dare these people check their phones in the place of their work in Disneyworld, no less. You know, and I've said two examples so far of how Disney World is ruined. You know, and they're pretty bad. You know, dressing up how you want, looking how you want, being on your phone. That's all egregious and heinous, and frankly, makes me want to fucking slit my wrist.
Yeah, me too. But at least it doesn't get any worse, right, Lewis?
You know what? Disney ruined some very precious things that I hold dear in my heart.
Like what?
Oh, well, you know the beloved rapist in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride?
Oh, yeah, dude, I love that rapist.
You know, when the pirates, back in my day, when the pirates used to rape and pillage in Pirates of the Caribbean, it used to just say to me, this is a land of magic. and now Disney has caved in to the socialist Bernie Sanders fucking goblins and ghouls. They got rid of our rapist, Jonah.
No, not the rapist. I like that guy.
They got rid of our rapists. Not only that. This guy's just such a bitch. If this is the shit he's complaining about. Anyway, let me get back in character. Other than the rape, what's another R word? Race. Shit, I'm proud of myself for that one.
Oh, nice.
Jungle Cruise. That's been attacked too. Apparently, it has some offensive caricatures. They took those out.
Oh yeah, the Trader Sam thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever actually seen a picture of the original Trader Sam?
What does he look like?
It's some menstrual ass. Like it literally looks like
blackface.
Kind of. I mean, it looks very similar to like what minstrel actors would wear.
Right.
And now they didn't even get rid of Trader Sam. They just replaced him with a more realistic looking black guy.
Oh, you mean an actual African American?
Yeah, instead of like just a minstrel-esque caricature. Now it just looks like more like a normal fucking black guy.
Oh, a human being,
yeah.
You said.
Yeah. Yeah, ridiculous.
Oh, wow. And then my favorite, do you know of the Disney film Song of the South?
I actually saw a video on this. Apparently, it's a movie about like how slaves on a particular plantation in Georgia, they loved it. There was nothing wrong. They were so happy to serve their masters. They
befriend cartoon characters, and they all sing songs and dance.
Yeah. No, it's because slaves love to sing and dance and have fun while they were being fucking beaten.
I think there's literally a character in Song of the South called Jim Crow, who's a talking bird.
Yeah. No, actually, that is. Wait, is that Song of the South, or I feel like it's another? Is that another movie?
I'm pretty sure that's Song of the South.
Okay, all right.
I know Dumbo had racist crows too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most stuff in old Disney movies was racist or something to some degree.
You ever see the cartoon where Donald Duck's a Nazi?
No, I've never seen it, but I've seen like clips of it.
It's so funny because the whole thing is like, oh, here's Donald Duck and he's a fucking Nazi and he's fucking working for Hitler and it's fucking badass and he loves it. And then the end, it's like, JK, it was all a dream. Ha ha ha. Nazi Germany's bad. Ha ha ha. It's all just a big elaborate JK. Wow. Anyway, yeah, the Splash Mountain. This is something not a lot of people know, but Splash Mountain is a Disney ride that's inspired by the film Song of the South. So they've done a whole renovation of Splash Mountain so Disney can further distance themselves from Song of the South, because that's a film they're never ever re-releasing and they don't even talk about it.
I mean, yeah, that entire movie is just apologism for slavery, essentially.
Yeah. Well, it's not apologism, it's what's the word? It's downplaying the severity of what it was and making it seem like it's like a cartoon. Is it a caricature? It's a caricature of racism.
Yeah, wait. I feel like we're thinking of different movies. Hang on.
Song of the South. What do you mean?
I'm pretty sure Song of the South is a live action movie. Yeah.
No, it's a mix. It's a mix.
Oh, it is.
Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay. Gotcha.
The black people are real, but the cartoon characters are cartoons.
Interesting. Okay.
And the black people are like, oh, I sure do love not having freedom. Let's do a song and dance, Mr. Cartoon character, about how great it is being here. Anyway. So this gentleman, Jonathan, he goes on to talk about how all these changes. So let's go over the changes. People can be themselves. People can use their phone. There are no longer rapist characters, and some of the rides no longer reflect racist caricatures and racist imagery.
I don't know, dude. Sounds like some soy boy bitch shit to me.
You and I are pretty strong alpha males.
Yeah,
and we can see this and say this is some real beta shit. Let's be honest. And Jonathan agrees, because he just says that Disney has politicized their park.
Well, what's so interesting about that is, like, all of those movies in many ways were political. Like we just said, Song of the South. The entire point is like to downplay slavery. Like, if that's not political, I don't know what the fuck is.
No, everyone knows of the political thriller Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, you know what I mean.
Well, Pirates of the Caribbean was a ride first, and then they made the movie decades later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So somebody looked at all that raping and pillaging and said, you know what? See, this is what the liberals are taking away from us. The creativity and ambition of artists.
Yeah.
This is what Jonathan... this is probably what Jonathan was getting at, but he didn't include it into his writing, so I can only assume there was probably a word count. Because he mainly focuses on how, because of all this, because of these egregious changes, Disney theme parks are driving away conservatives. They are losing money, and they are making the experience less fun, because it's just a reminder of the real world. And I'm just going to read verbatim his closing statement, because I think it pretty much reflects you and I, and your and I thoughts on all this. Disney, please return to the values and vision of Walt. The customer experience should be the core of your business model. Immersion should not be sacrificed on the altar of political correctness and appeasing the Twitter mob.
Oh my. That last line makes me cringe so fucking hard. I remember back in like 2014, 2015 when like Tumblr was the social media boogeyman. And now it's like...
No.
Oh. Well, it was.
Sorry,
It was. Because I when I was younger, before I became a cool lefty, I was in that like PragerU-esque bubble.
You were in right-wing Tumblr Tumblr accounts.
No. It's like Tumblr was the boogeyman because they pushed all the genders and shit. You know,
Jonah be like, this is my fascist Sona, and it's a furry anthropomorphic fox wearing an SS officer uniform.
I got that black sun behind me.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. But anyway, yeah, it's so fucking cringe, and he doesn't even realize it, I don't think. Also,
what,
like
the PragerU people?
What?
The PragerU people?
No, I'm talking about the guy who wrote this op-ed.
Oh, right. Yes.
And it's like he isn't gonna stop going. He's a grown ass fucking man.
The fucking picture of himself. The fucking picture of. I'm gonna make this the cover because he looks so fucking scary. He's this old guy standing in front of a bookshelf, and the bookshelf is covered in statues of Disney characters.
Yeah, if you're a grown-ass man and you're in Disney, not that there's anything wrong with liking like more juvenile things as an adult. I respect the shit out of that. But it's like if you're a grown-ass man and you're that deep into Disney, like you're not going to stop going. Like that's not going to happen.
No. This guy, I don't get it. What does he have to gain from this?
I don't know.
Because it just seems like everybody's made fun of him.
I think he's just racist. Call me crazy. Hot take. I think this guy's just racist.
I think he's just one of those people that doesn't. Let's talk about Disney. Or the Disney World.
Yeah.
Disney World / Disneyland is a great representation of a cleaned up society. Or it's very much everything is perfect there. It's supposed to be the kingdom of magic, Mm-hmm. It's peace on earth. And I assume some people who are attracted to this, and I want to bring up Main Street USA, which is the grand entrance to the Disney parks, which is a replication of old school 1950s-esque Americana. That's your big entry point to your entire theme park.
Right.
Which maybe we could talk about this. Maybe that's also a form of subtle propaganda where it's like, this is 1950s idealized America. This is it.
What, like,
especially
like,
if you have
you mean like the way Disney is kind of structured and the way it encourages its guests to be?
Well, I'm mainly focusing that there is a literal section of your park dedicated to the glorification of a bygone era of America. This bygone era, the 1950s, typically being like the popular culture idea of what America is. Like despite the fact that that's now 70 years ago, I think in pop culture, when we think about America, we think about like that, the white picket fence with the nuclear family, like the fucking rock and roll in the soda shop, sort of like that Archie Comics kind of weird idea. And that's preserved in Disney.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that is, yeah, I mean, even to this day, like you just said, I mean, that is an idea that a lot of people have when they think of like American society and what it means to be like a successful American. Like, even though that ideal is not as real as it once was, that like realistically, it's not as real as it once was. That ideal still very much exists. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's that fantasy. And Disney, at least the parks, they can enable people, or at least they did, they enable people to enact whatever fantasy you want. And I guess because Disney is this sort of cleaned up fantasy land where people have to act a certain way. And as I mentioned, everything seems perfect. And Disney's weird. Main Street USA, I hate to keep bringing it up, but they literally pump in vanilla scented air to make you think like, oh, wow, this smells great. It's creating this odd fake structure, like this not to use this word again, but perfect area. And that's just weird because it's another form of manipulation. Whoa, who would have thought? And I guess what I'm trying to say is Disney reflected to some extent traditional values and almost like a reservation of certain traits. And now that Disney, I guess, is leaning towards kind of cutting back on being strict with their workers and actually recognizing that some of their fucking 70-year-old attractions are no longer right anymore.
Yeah.
And they're making the move to change that and to be reflective of the modern day world, then that's another weird thing for people to point at and say that's an attack on me because that's something I like.
Right.
Which is another weird thing of entitlement and fandom, where you've taken something I like because you're making it for modern day audiences. You know, that's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't get this entitlement in terms of pop culture.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think just like people place a strangely high, especially conservatives in particular do this a lot, though I think everyone does to some extent. People place a very high importance on like culture and the way in which culture makes them feel. And if things are changed, then like especially like with this guy who probably, you know, banks on Disney to kind of like make him feel like a kid again. And now that things are different, you know, he has to like face the reality of like, well, maybe what I enjoyed as a kid was problematic. And so I think maybe it's just like a form of denial.
Oh my God, Luke Skywalker is an old sad man. I'm an old sad man. Why can't he be a badass? Why can't he be killing people left and right?
Yeah.
Luckily, they have the Mandalorian where he does, where they're like, we took 85-year-old Mark Hamill and we made him look like a CGI monstrosity so you can have the erection of your lifetime. Boomers, enjoy. Go nuts.
It's funny is that's pretty much exactly how it happened. At least that's my headcanon of it.
It is what happened. It's fan service.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is so
let's go back to this. Listen, I don't want to go on a whole other tangent talking about. We could probably make that another episode.
Yeah.
Put a pin on that. We can talk about like the weird relationship people have with fandom and pop culture.
Yeah.
Let's just sum up this guy and then we'll move into your thing. This guy's a fucking loser. Jonah and I had a lot of fun with this, you know, seeming like we supported this guy. We don't.
Yeah.
This guy is a bitch who is upset that I get his fucking idealized Disney is gone because guess what? It's adapting, it's changing, it's modernizing.
It's slightly less racist than it once was, and he's having a hissy fit about it. I mean, it's that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. This guy's just being a bitch, and he's instead of just sucking it up and being like, "Huh, well, it's different, but it is what it is." He's got to go online and he's got to tell everybody how he feels about it and make a big fucking fuss. He's got to, and not only that, spin it as this whole political divide as well. Because that's exactly what we need. Some other guy pointing at this very specific thing and saying, this too is being destroyed by the division in America.
Right. And it's like pretending as though like he's going to actually stop going when we all know he's not. Like this is...
No.
Yeah.
We know he's a consumer just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
He's going to Disney. You know, despite the fact that the racism and the rape is gone, he's going to swallow his pride and he's going to put on that stupid Mickey Mouse hat and take a picture with Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Like a good American should. Okay. I would also like to point out that he lives in North Las Vegas, Nevada. So if any of our fans in Nevada want to chill out with him, you know where he is.
Yeah. Ah, man. It's just so I almost have a hard time believing people that fucking lame exist. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
No, I know. I don't doubt it. It's just like, holy shit, really? Seriously?
Maybe you remember this event in history, but I remember it very fondly when... Are you familiar with the Ghostbusters?
I am.
Well, maybe you don't remember. Maybe it's an event forgotten to time. But there was another Ghostbusters film in the year 2016, the year of our Lord 2016.
Oh yeah, with all the women.
With women Ghostbusters. And it single-handedly destroyed cinema for all of history.
Yeah, I mean, I that wasn't the time when I was still in that like reactionary bubble. So
you were still in your fascist sona.
Sorta, yeah, and everybody that I watched was like, this is like, you know, I think some people even said like it was an attack on men or something, and it's like I cringe.
Well, it's true.
I
you
cringe.
Know how they fight?
What?
It's true. It is an attack on men. You know how they defeat the bad guy in that movie?
How?
They punch him in the balls.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. Male castration. Testicles are the evil of society. Cut him off, stomp him, fucking turn him into mashed potatoes.
Damn, that's crazy. Anyway,
yeah, no.
What were you saying?
I don't fucking know. We were talking about cock and ball torture, Jonah.
Oh.
But yeah, no. That's another great example. It's, you know what it is? It's people getting old. People are getting fucking old, and they don't like that the shit they liked as kids is changing.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Star Wars has a girl. Ghostbusters are women now.
Disney doesn't have...
Captain America is a black guy now.
Disney is not blatantly glorifying slavery anymore. Like,
yeah, Disney got rid of the rapists and minstrel characters. You gotta be so pathetic if you say to yourself, you know what, you wake up one day and you said, you know what I have to do? I have to save the rapist characters of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I have to save it. It's my duty as a conservative American to single-handedly save them. Yeah. I'm just going to cap it off. This guy sucks.
This guy does
suck. This opinion sucks. Anybody, if you agree with him, you suck.
Yes, brother. You got it.
Hell yeah, dude. And yeah, world's changing, get over it. Okay, Jonah.
All right.
You're up.
So,
finish us off. Tap us out.
Have you ever heard of a little known country called Saudi Arabia?
Never.
All right. Well,
the only thing I know about it is that is there a king?
Yes.
Yeah, the king. Whenever the president has to come talk to him, he has to hold his hand.
Really?
Yeah, because in Saudi, I'm pretty sure it's Saudi Arabia. It's part of the culture where if two men are having a very serious one-on-one discussion, you have to hold hands and talk to each other.
Wow, and here I thought they were anti-gay, but
what's gay about holding another man's hand?
Well, if you're wearing socks, nothing.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you were talking about this fictional place I've never heard of. Yeah, so in this fictional place we've never heard of, they're known for treating... Is this like Wakanda?
God damn it. Well, no, because Wakanda is actually kind of woke. Saudi Arabia is...
Say no. I thought you were going to say no because Wakanda is real. The state-sanctioned podcast, we're going to plant our flag down right now. We believe Wakanda is real and Saudi Arabia is not. You know what? No. I feel that's a hotbed of... I redact that. Saudi Arabia is very much real. Please don't...
Yeah, please don't dox us.
Yeah, please don't get it. We love it. Jonah and I will go there and we'll hold hands.
Yeah.
We're that serious.
Yeah.
Okay, please, Jonah, continue.
So, they're pretty well... Saudi Arabia is pretty well known for treating human rights as more of like a suggestion rather than something that's actually really important. I mean, MBS, the current king, he got a lot of shit for brutally murdering a journalist named Jamal Khashoggi, who just happened to be very critical of him. And because they're allies of the U.S., the U.S. of course does absolutely nothing about it. But
course.
what they're a little more well known for is their guardianship system. Do you know anything about the Saudi guardianship system, Lewis?
Tons. I know so much about the Saudi Arabian guardianship. The guardianship what laws?
I guess, but it's more of like a system.
Yeah, I know so much about the guardianship system of this place I've never heard of.
Right. Well, basically, for those of you who don't know, women in Saudi
Me excluded because I know all of it.
Right, of course. Women in Saudi Arabia have virtually no autonomy. They are entirely beholden to their guardian. This guardian is either their father or it is their husband once they get married, or if there is no father or husband, sometimes even their son. They cannot
Really?
Yeah. They cannot make any autonomous decisions for themselves without the permission of their guardian, even like fleeing the country. And so
wait, so they can't even leave their own country by themselves?
No, they need their guardian's permission, and never happen. Very rarely do they allow that to happen, because it's, the what you're supposed to do in Saudi Arabia is, as a man, is to control your wife and control the woman who you're a guardian over. And
I don't mean to tie it back to the last topic, but I feel Jonathan would very much agree with that. call it a gut feeling.
Yeah.
But I feel Jonathan's 100% on this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he didn't like the raped slave women being removed from the Disney ride. I'm sure he'd at least be passively okay with a system like this. But anyway, one of the ways in which they enforce this guardianship system is with a series of social correction facilities. The one in particular is called, I'm probably butchering this because I do not speak Arabic, Dar al-Raya, which translates...
re-education camps?
It doesn't seem like that. So Dar al-Raya translates to home of care, ironically. And basically, according to some accounts, the conditions inside of there are worse than like prisons, right? So here's in the article, just a charge of disobedience by a guardian can mean a one-way trip to the home of care. Some who have tried to escape abuse at home, either by reporting their abuse or being reported as trying to escape by their guardian, have found themselves in the home as the home of care. And essentially, there have been reports of torture, of suicides, of like women being strip searched and thrown into solitary confinement for longer than what they're technically supposed to be allowed to. Which, by the way, the reason why they're even in there in the first place is by, not coming home when their guardian tells them to, or saying, "Help, my husband's beating me," and it's like they're getting punished for doing stuff like that. And
I'm assuming sexual abuse is probably prominent in these places too, by the men running it.
I'm pretty sure all forms of abuse are, yeah. And I can't imagine sexual abuse.
Well, you
is
didn't
not...
say that. You didn't say that, so I figured.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. That's perfectly fair. Yeah, no. Women getting at the very least beaten by their fathers or husbands, or like I said, even their sons, is really common.
No. I mean in these what are these places again? Camps?
I don't know what exactly they're called. This one in particular is just called Dar al-Raya.
But what are they? Are they like centers?
Okay. Well, so according to the Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Human Resources and Social Development, Dar al-Raya holds two types of women: those who need social correction and strengthening of their religious faith for...
Yeah, it's a re-education camp.
Yeah, re-education / prison. Prison, like, and the title of this article, by the way, is Saudi Arabia's House of Horror for Disobedient Women. So, yeah, I mean, this kind of seems like it's meant to be almost like re-education / hell on earth for women who have the fucking audacity to try and do anything for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of talk about this because this is so... Like, I mean, this is an article in Newslines magazine, which I've never heard of, but there's very little talk about anything like this in Saudi Arabia's many, many human rights abuses. And it's just,
that's some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
That's really, wow. But this is really a weird kind of thing to talk about, because I imagine, we can talk about it from our what are the cultural relativism versus ethnocentrism.
Yeah.
Right. That's the anthropological. Those are are those sociological or anthropological or both? I think anthropological.
I'm not sure. That's
culture.
not my area of expertise, but I think
Okay.
sounds right, I guess.
Well, those are two terms. I want to pull this up because I want to get them. I want to get them right, because one reflects reviewing a culture from the viewpoint of your own, while the other is reviewing a culture while trying not to make any judgments. Like trying to understand it. So cultural relativism is understanding and not making judgments, while ethnocentrism is judging it based on the viewpoint of your own culture.
Right.
So you and I, we come from America, who treats all of its citizens like kings and queens.
Right, and all equal, as we've thoroughly discussed in this exact episode.
Except the fucking rapists and race and minstrel characters at Disneyland. Not to bring it up. Sorry. Anyway, so but we can look at it, and you and I feel as a human being, you can say this is objectively wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have any degree of respect for the concept of human rights, I mean, this is just objectively a violation of these women's human rights. And I mean,
so from a cultural and from a human perspective, we can look at this as wrong. And then we have the Saudi Arabian culture, which looks at that and says, big whoop.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah, this is I mean, what you're supposed
This is life.
What you think women can just drive and fucking leave? And
what are women on the totem pole over there? Like, is your pet worth more than a woman in that culture?
I'm not sure. Probably not. I mean, I would like to think that they at least consider women to be human, even if they're like lesser humans. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, I mean that's faint praise and cold comfort, I guess. But I mean, it is something.
Do they practice polygamy?
I think so. I don't know that for sure. I mean,
You want to look it up?
my views of Saudi Arabia, a lot of it comes from like American, media and stuff. So who knows how accurate it is? Saudi Arabia.
No, but that's terrible. That's like a really big thing. I don't know where to really go from it. Like, go from there. It's like, where exactly do you attack it? Because it's so ludicrous.
Yeah,
it's such a ludicrous idea from our perspective. Like, you can't even fathom something like that. Well, actually, good comparison. America, what do we have? I'm pretty sure we still have them. Gay re-education camps.
Oh yeah,
right?
No, conversion therapy is still legal in most parts of this country.
Exactly. Those are facilities where they essentially hold kids and teens against their will, and even adults in some situations sometimes against their wills. Sometimes they volunteer, and they pretty much they either abuse them or brainwash or both them into relinquishing the side of themselves and make them either think or force them to identify as straight, or heterosexual.
As far as I understand, those camps are technically considered torture, like what they do in those places.
See, look, okay, great. We found a good way to connect it.
Great. I'm so glad torture is legal in the U.S.
No, I'm saying.
No, I know.
Yeah. Don't be like
okay.
that. Lewis's torture is good. No, I'm just saying there is a comparison right there.
Yeah.
And this kind of ties into what we were talking about last week, where Americans, I guess nowadays, kind of look at LGBTQ plus community as the group to attack in a more open way.
Right. Especially trans people.
Especially trans people. So this is, we're a culture as of right now that still demonizes and considers these people to be second-class citizens, at least, I guess more conservative states, and this is another area where it's I don't want to use the word extreme, but it's in the same vein, except it's a much I want to use the word extreme because it's a much larger group. It's not just a subsect of sexuality and gender identification. This is an entire sex. This is half. This is half of people.
An entire sex, and also there's the systems which are designed to keep that in place are very sophisticated and very developed, and this is like, I mean, this is a level of systemic oppression that would make many aspects of American history blush.
Right.
Like, not to downplay the horrible shit that we've done, but you know what I mean. Like, it's like
guys, we did some pretty horrible stuff. Let's admit it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, like you said, this is just so absurd that it's just
right.
Yeah.
Because you're looking, like I said, it's such a that's. I know this is incorrect, but it's like that's half of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're saying, let's do something about that. And the way you seemingly described it, it's a whole society structured around keeping these women down and making sure they will never rise up. And anytime, by the sounds of it, anytime somebody does do something, oh, well, you get sent to the re-education camp. That's just intolerance on such a large scale. That's why it's out in the open too.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine is why people. I guess it's one of those sad things. Maybe because it's so big, because it is an entirely different country. It is so ingrained in their culture and the structure of their society that it's, as I said, how the hell do you attack it? Like, where do you go? Where do you start chipping away at it? And because I think in a diplomatic sense of, let's say we talk to Saudi Arabia, we talk to the CEO of Saudi Arabia, and we tell him, hey man, chill it out with all this, chill out on all this sexist shit. And he says, wow, gosh, you're right. I learned my lesson. I mean, like, on a diplomatic level, I feel like that'll never happen.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. It's either one of those things that's you just don't know, because it can really either get worse or it'll get better with time.
Yeah.
Unless something humongous happens and restructures the entire country.
Right.
But I doubt that. And you said it too. That's a country we're allies with and we depend on to some extent. So I don't think the American government gives a shit, because it's not that they would look at it and say it's not our people. So we don't care, because we're focused on, what is it, oil, I guess?
Oil, and it's just like, yeah, I think oil, and also, like, they are a big part of our operations in the Middle East. Okay. So that's another part of it.
Yeah, because they on a very superficial and inhuman level, the American government has so much to gain from being allies.
Definitely.
So
it's like but it really is awful, like how what our country sends over and over is, if you are our allies, we will let you get away with just about anything. It's just, same case with, like, Israel too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. No, that's yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Man, you've really been bumming me out with your topics.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, man. I wanted to cover this in particular.
No, but this is important.
Yeah, it's important. And like I said, like, I've seen very little coverage on stuff like this. And it's very interesting. I'm not sure why, but yeah.
Now these are state-run facilities.
So I think there's something in the article about that.
Yes. So figure that out. Are they private or private is like a corporation, right?
Oh, here we go. Although not public prisons, the system effectively functions as one and sometimes treats inmates worse than the prisons. Years of cultivated fear have led women who have never set foot inside to imagine something far worse than a prison, and according to some accounts, it is. Yeah. So it's technically not run by the state, but like it
do they kill the women there? Or do they kill some women?
It doesn't say. There's definitely like there was the article does highlight. By the way, anybody who wants to read this, Newsline magazine, Saudi Arabia's houses of horror for disobedient women. But anyway, there was one inmate who hanged herself, and basically the manager of Dar al Raya blamed the ministry, the social affairs ministry, for not installing the correct surveillance camera in the cell, so nobody was held accountable. So it's like they're not killing them,
Great.
But they're pretty much they're completely negligent and blaming like the wrong things,
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, it's basically just one step removed from that type of thing.
It's almost like a form of assisted suicide,
sort of,
where they're driving some of these people downright insane.
Definitely. Yeah. And what's almost as crazy as this is what happens after a lot of them get released. They get sent from Dar al Raya to Dar al Thayafah, which is the home of
Wait, so they go to a second prison?
It doesn't talk too much about Dar al Thayafah, but essentially it transitions women from the care of the center back to a guardian, often the same guardian who sent them to prison or for whom they were trying to escape. And if sometimes there are no guardians to take them.
You know what this is? You know what this sounds like? Not to interrupt you, but this sounds like an entire dehumanization process.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you're just trying to wipe away every aspect of this person and their personality, so they will only be an extension of their guardian.
Yeah.
That's all this sounds. It just seems to be an entire program to just reduce people to nothing.
Yeah, women are simply accessories of men. That's how this works.
Well, no, not that. That's yes, but I mean, like this is very interesting because this is a whole organization dedicated to dehumanization.
Yeah,
that is insane. That is wild. Because okay, with the gay conversion therapy, it's not necessarily like trying to wipe away your humanity. It's more so trying to repress one side of you. This is literally trying to destroy every piece of you by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So you can be, as you said, an accessory to a man.
Yeah. And
that is.
Yeah, and
that sounds so like that sounds like something so evil. And so, especially because it's so organized, it sounds so preposterous that but it's real.
Like this is something that like if somebody just kind of said this to me on a whim, I'd be like, that's not happening. That's not real. Like,
you would see this in a movie, and you would say, "Wow, that's a pretty great idea for a movie."
Yeah, good thing that doesn't actually happen anywhere in the real world. Like it's because it's just
nothing bad ever happens in the real world.
It's just so ridiculous. I mean, and that's kind of a light word to use, but you know what I mean. Like it's so.
No, I mean, like it's so insanely evil.
Yes.
that. If you were to come up with this idea for a story, they would say you're trying too hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's disgusting. This is really the episode where we're really just digging into some horrible topics and horrible people.
Yeah.
On all these topics all around. We started light with Rudy Giuliani, and now here we are taking this on.
Rudy Giuliani, more racism, and then sexism.
Yeah. Yeah, right. But I think the connecting through line of all these is power and privilege, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
And it's
even though all four of these stories don't really have much connective tissue, they all have the same bones in their skeleton.
definitely. Yeah,
Like, even as something as mundane as Jonathan bitching and moaning about Disneyland, like, that's still an example of this white man wishing he could still have some semblance of power over something he loves that is changing. And Rudy Giuliani, a man of power, upset that he's being held accountable for his shadowy dealings. Oh no. A classic age-old story. White man upset he has to face the consequence of his actions.
No. What? White people aren't supposed to face consequences of their actions. Like what? Come on,
No. A war on drugs, using your power to subjugate an entire group of people, and this as well, using your power and privilege to dehumanize an entire group of people.
Yeah, to make them just just
slaves.
Yeah, I mean, I was even going to say like indentured servants, but at least indentured servants eventually, if they survive, earn their freedom. Like there's not even a guarantee of that, unless you like seek asylum in other countries. Which a lot of these women, if they're successful in their escape, that's exactly what they do.
Well, it's a good thing we get to announce that Disney is releasing Song of Saudi Arabia, where they're going to portray this re-education camp in a whole new light, filled with songs, dances, and cartoon characters.
Yeah. Oh man, I thank God for Disney. I can't wait for them to whitewash this.
Yeah. Yeah, they cast Scarlett Johansson as Saudi Arabian woman #1. Yeah, that rocks.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't rock. I hate that. I hate this. I don't mean to make light and try to joke around, but it to be honest, I'm just so uncomfortable by this idea that I'm just trying anything to make myself feel less uncomfortable.
Yeah, no.
It's really sad.
I mean, it's okay to make some light of it as long as we recognize, like, I think we made abundantly clear that, like, we think this is, like, inexcusably, repulsive in the way
it's just really sad and just so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
To even think about that it's something that is currently happening, and like you said, it seemingly nobody cares.
Yeah, that's almost the worst part. Like, yeah, nobody seems to. Yeah, and one of the things the article also says is a lot of tweets trying to talk about this have gotten pulled down, which is a bit sus.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
We can't be talking about it too much. Don't get it on trending.
Yeah, no, we can only.
God forbid people learn about this.
Yeah, we can only talk about, like, canceling somebody for, like, shit that they said 10 years ago that was not even that problematic. That's the only thing that can be on Twitter.
Mr. Jonathan says right here, you said the N-word on MySpace in 2005. How about I send that to your employer real quick and let's see what he has to say about this.
Oh, he? You're assuming my employer is a he? Sounds like...
Oh, shit, you got...
I'll send that to your employer.
You and I have encountered a checkmate. or no, not a checkmate, a stalemate.
A stalemate, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I have you saying the N-word and you have me saying your employer's a man. Truly evil. I gotta tell you a story. Okay. Okay, wait. Before I tell you this story, let's wrap up your topic because I don't want to make it seem like we're gonna forget about this.
Yeah. Okay.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I know this is kind of heavy. I know this probably wasn't the most entertaining, but I do feel that this is.
It's important.
Absolutely, and it's so it's just not. It's never talked about, never covered, and that just sickens me. So I even though we only have, like you said, 7 fans or whatever, I hope I hope all of you learned something today. And like I said,
it's raising awareness.
Yeah, like I said, it's Newsline magazine, Saudi Arabia's House of Horrors for Disobedient Women. So if you want to read up on it yourself,
you know what? Send me the link. I'll put it in the description.
Good call. Good call.
Well, anyway, while you do that, I'll give my closing thought. Yeah, I think that's pretty bad too. I've said all I've had to say about that.
Yeah,
that's as far as. I mean, if you don't think that's bad, if you don't think that's disgusting and heinous, it's terrible. But it's also so disheartening because it's like, what the hell can you even do to fight it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's a bigger problem than you and me, and I hate it when people use that excuse. But I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I guess other than just spread awareness,
right? At least that's something.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, I'm gonna try to lighten the mood, and then we'll wrap it up. I'll tell you a fun story of something that happened to me the other day.
Okay.
My family came to visit me. You know, a couple of my cousins and aunts and my uncle, and my uncle. You know, this is my Latino side of my family. They're all fun-loving, cool blokes and lasses. And my uncle, who's technically a cousin, but he's so much older that I consider him just an uncle. He's a funny guy. He's a cool guy. And anyway, me and my cousin Mateo and I are just talking, and I think Mateo made a joke about the song "N-Words in Paris." You know. Mm-hmm. You know that one? And I was like, and I just repeated, like, oh, who was in Paris? You know, because that's the joke. That's the meme.
Yeah.
Who was in Paris? And then we just laughed, ha, ha, ha. And then my uncle just walks up and he's like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, oh, we're talking about, well, we made a joke. And then I think the song was playing. That's why we were talking about it.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, we made a joke about the song. And it's like, oh, yeah, I love this song. And I'm like, yeah, hey, do you know who was in Paris? And he just looked at me, dead face, and he said, "Oh yeah, the N-words." Like he flat out,
like hard R, or
yeah. But he didn't say it like malevolently or anything. He's just like, "Oh yeah," just very matter of fact,
yeah, very nonchalant, just dropping the N-word. Yeah.
And I was so shocked. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. He should talk to Jonathan. I think they'd have something in common.
Yeah. No. He's like, Jonathan would probably say, "Is like, guess what? Guess who was in Paris? You wouldn't believe it."
Yeah, Disney won't tell you who was in Paris.
Disney is removing all history of who was in Paris in their parks.
Oh, that's so sad.
Well, okay. I hope not exactly the knee slapper I was hoping for, but. It's something. All right. Yeah. Johnny, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah. If you found this, I hope you guys found this somewhat funny or informative, or you just enjoyed it in some capacity. We'll see you all next week. Does that sound good to you, Lewis?
Yes, that sounds good. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for tolerating our nonsense and bullshit. And check us out online. I'm at Lewis Southard and at Lewis J. Southard. And Jonah is where he is because he doesn't want to get murdered. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
And thank you for listening.
All right. Goodbye.